All right, it's 2 p.m. and we are ready to go. So hello and a very warm welcome to our today's webinar. Today we want to talk about reducing networking capital in supply chains with advanced forecasting methods and optimal inventory allocation. My name is Konrad and I'm a principal at 4Flow Consulting. I'm almost 13 years with 4Flow and happy to share some insights and experiences I collected in projects related to our today's topic. Together with me is Laura. Hi, Laura.
Yeah, hello. A warm welcome from my side as well. I'm Laura, and I've been together with 4Flow for 6 years. I'm leading the data science team at 4Flow Consulting, and we are applying machine learning, AI, as well as advanced algorithms to solve different supply chain challenges for our customers. And today I will give you an insight how we do that in the field of inventory optimization.
Thank you very much. So our content for the next half hour will be that we first introduce the topic and outline the current importance and the levers we utilize to tackle the networking capital reductions. Secondly, we will show you how we approach such a forecasting and inventory optimization project together with the customer. And we will also give some insights on the measures we executed and the results of the projects. And finally, we will conclude the webinar with an overview on the solutions we provide to support such projects. And of course, at the end of the webinar, we will also have some time to answer your questions. So please feel free to put your questions into the chat. So let's kick it off. First of all, I would like to explain you how we tackled the issue because the customer introduced us with the following problem. He reported us that he built up inventories in recent years as a reaction to external circumstances to keep his service levels up. So our customer does not seem the only one who's acting like that. Indeed, we see a general trend of an increasing inventory to sales ratio over the last 3 years. You see that on the diagram on the left-hand side. After an abnormal peak beginning of the corona pandemic, it decreased again, but in recent years, we see peaking inventory to sales ratios again, especially related to supply issues like the pandemic or other conflicts. Many companies still strive for higher inventories to make their supply chains more resilient. In addition to that, interest rates have been peaking lately. They are on a level they haven't been for more than a decade. And the combination of both is actually resulting in a high net working capital. And this again is time cash that customers can make better use of. Accordingly, the aim of the customer was to optimize his inventories in a way he can keep his service levels up or even improve them, and at the same time reduces his net working capital. This targeted state we call the new equilibrium. And before we share more details on the project approach and the customer case study results, I would like to introduce you to the levers we tackle in our net working capital reduction projects. On that slide, you see an overview of the different levers we see for reducing net working capital. And as a global leader in end-to-end supply chain optimization, we address net working capital reductions holistically. This means that we not only take single levers, but look at issues along the entire supply chain and work on all relevant areas. For sales, for example, we consider improving forecasting accuracy, which is a huge lever as we often see potentials in the planning processes and the use systems at our customers. Also agreeing or renegotiating the service levels with the customers and to check which service levels are really required helps to derive the right conclusions for balancing the inventory levels. In the case of our customer, for example, we recognize that the sales representatives always considered the highest possible service levels for their orders, no matter the customer requested it or even paid extra fees for it. So always a huge lever to be considered. If we now look not only at the customer side, but also on the supply side, there are further levers in the field of procurement. There's often great potential in the reduction of minimum order quantities or delivery lead times. Also, leveraging, for example, returns or cancellation policies is only rarely used, although it is a really good chance to clean up your inventories. The good thing about all these options is that you are responsible for them. So you are in the driver's seat to set the relation to the suppliers. Once the setup with the customers and the suppliers is set, we see a lot of adjustment possibilities in material management within the day-to-day operations. One can, for example, reduce safety buffer times or the ordering quantities. In terms of transportation, you can also, for example, increase the delivery frequency or try to reduce the transportation time with selecting the optimal routing or the optimal transport mode. One simple example out of our customer context was here to serve India from Europe instead of Asia, because we were able to better utilize the later cutoff time in Europe to fulfill the demand in India due to the shift of the time zones. So sometimes it's really easy to make a use out of such simple levers. In addition to the first three mentioned aspects, one can also drive levers in production operations or in the billing and accounting processes to optimally shape your payables and receivables. And last but not least, a cross-functional view is of very high importance to utilize the levers end to end and to understand and consider the dependencies of all the mentioned fields and actions. So we focused on a few of these levers in a customer project we did together with the customer in the manufacturing industry. Laura will now give you some insights on the situation of our customer and the approach you utilized. So Laura, how did it go at the customer?
Yeah, thanks, Konrad. Yeah, so this customer was really desperate because he had a lot of articles for which he could not find the right inventory parameters. So either the stock level was very, very high, and so network costs were very expensive, or he did not have enough inventory, and so the service level was not good enough. And in the end, he was just not able to meet the demand. And yeah, so what did we do there? We tackled this challenge in a very data-driven way. So we started with a thorough data analysis. And this is what we usually do to really understand the dependencies between the different drivers of the demand, to really measure DSIs, and yeah, to really deep dive into it. And already from this data analysis phase, our customers get a lot of value, because we find lots of different insights. So what happens very often, for example, is that if we take a look at the service levels, then we find out that they are worse than the customer had expected, or we really take a look into replacement times and see that they do not fit to the replacement times in the systems. And yeah, there are lots of insights like that. And some of these insights we then transfer into the second step. And the second step, we set up the forecasting model. And what we do here is we do a demand forecast on SKU level or on part level, and depending on the available data, we either use advanced algorithms, so stochastic stuff like that, or we use machine learning AI for it. And if we use AI, then we take all the demand drivers that we've identified in the first phase and put them into our machine learning models. And so it's somehow clear when the machine learning model doesn't have an information, it cannot take it into account during the forecast. And so it's really important to really find out what are drivers for your demand. And this is always something that is very, very customer driven. And in a lot of cases, there are some external data sources that we also utilize here. That could be weather, that could be some economical indices, or something completely different. But we can see that with these machine learning models, we get a much better forecasting accuracy. And now we have a very good forecast, so we are able to somehow see how the demand could look like. And now in the third step, we start to optimize the parameters. And we, in our calculation models, we have some input variables that are somehow fixed. This is part criticality, service levels, and so on. This is something the computer doesn't calculate. It's something we, together with our customer, define and then put it into the systems. For different scenarios. And with these given parameters, we are now able to define a very huge solution space, and by then we can calculate the right parameters that fit to the input. And yeah, then in the end, this means that with our optimized parameters and the demand forecast and so on, we can find this new equilibrium. And how we do that will Konrad now tell you in a bit more detail.
Yes, thank you very much, Laura. So on this slide, you really see what we did together with the customer, and you see real results of our project. First of all, we started to analyze the customer's as-is situation. So we figured out the real current service level and the existing inventories and the respective inventory values. And you see that in the center, the starting point was our as-is. And then, as also described by Laura, we selected the best fitting algorithm for our customer to really create an optimal forecasting accuracy for the given demand pattern, which was a very volatile. And based on the Petropaulos-Corensis approximation, really very specific, we were able to optimally utilize it for this intermittent demand the customer patterns have shown. And by using that, we were able to span the solution space. You see also in the center, you see different dots, and we created different scenarios for our customer. And the different options would have been that, for example, you could increase the service level by around 8% by keeping the inventory on the same level. Or the other way around, we would have drastically reducing our inventory value by keeping the same service level. What we did in parallel was to renegotiate the customer service levels. So we checked which service levels were really required and how much would customers pay for the extra service. And this, in the end, led us to the targeted equilibrium. Because our customer wanted to simultaneously increase the service level, but also reduce the inventory levels and inventory values. And by that, we decided to go for that to be target. Based on that decision, we then created a list of items for all locations around the globe, so that we really knew what to put where to optimally utilize service level and inventory value, to really make sure that the trade-off at the targeted equilibrium comes into play. So one side aspect here, one additional result was that the customer also required an additional hub location for the Asian Pacific region, which was also then implemented shortly afterwards. But this was also just a side outcome of that project. In the general consequence, we also then set all the parameters in the customer's ERP. We adjusted everything according to our targeted equilibrium, and also goods have been transferred globally to reach optimal stock value for the desired parts availability for each location. To further foster these results and the global availability, we also renegotiated minimum order quantities and lead times with the suppliers because we want to be even faster and want to be able to react within the customer's dynamic environment. So based on all these steps, we were really able to achieve our targeted equilibrium together with the customer, which was a very satisfying result for him in the end. And you now may ask yourself how you could utilize such results in your own environment. And I think, Laura, what are the solutions we provide for that? You can give
Yes, I can do that. Yeah, so if you want to optimize your inventory parameters or if you want to understand sensitivities, then ForFlow offers two tool solutions. You can either combine them or choose them individually. And the first option is a data science tool. This is what was used in a just presented case study. And here we tailor inventory optimization algorithms and forecasting models to the customer's needs. And these algorithms, together with all data preparation pipelines and so on, are put together, combined with the graphical user interface, and then give a very simple and easy to use tool that is customer specific and can either be integrated into the customer's IT infrastructure or can be used locally on the customer's laptops. Yeah, so this is very, very tailored to the customer's needs. And the second option is the inventory allocation module of ForFlow's VIA Suite. The VIA Suite is a software suite for agile supply chain planning that consists of modular software for visualization, analysis, and optimization. So with this option, you can fastly get first results. You get a lot of visualizations, and you have something that is very simple and easy to use. And so I think you might wonder what solution should you choose, and this really depends on the preconditions. So basically on data maturity, the complexity of your demand behavior, of your processes, and so on. And what we normally do is to guide you within this decision. So we take a look at all these selection criteria and talk to you in detail about that. And then, yeah, you can decide if you want to combine it or if you want to go for one of the individual solutions. And here we brought you how the individual solution of the ForFlow VIA inventory allocation looks like. So on the screen, you can see that someone's playing around with product allocation across the globe. And what you can also do is to explore different other scenarios, for example, for service levels. So you can really play around here with all the input parameters and so on. But of course, the VIA suite can also do some calculations. And that is, for example, the optimization of product allocation, or it can identify additional warehousing spaces. Yeah, and as I said, you can use them independently or in combination. And yeah, that's it from my side. Now you've seen how we tackle these problems, how you can tackle them by yourself with our tools. And now I hand over to Konrad, who will finish up this webinar with the key takeaways.
Thank you very much, Laura. So what have been the success factors for such a project with our customer? The first very important thing was the advanced optimization, to really make sure that you really create a high forecasting accuracy, because the higher the accuracy is, the closer you can get to your target equilibrium. So if you don't use the right algorithms, or if you don't select the right patterns as input, then you will never get the chance to come so close to your target demand. This is really very important to make sure that it's tailored to your needs. The second really important thing is to make sure that you really know the impact and the actual status of your parameters, because there are so many interdependencies that you really have to make sure that you know what happens when you change something on the one end to the other end. And also to discover the sensitivities is very important. So how much is the one thing influencing the other is important to really create robust solutions that also keep the resilience or even improve the resilience of your supply chains. And then last but not least, it's also always of high importance to keep an eye on the big picture. I mean, it is an end-to-end topic, and you also have to think in terms of such whole system and not in silos for the one department or the other, and also commit to external stakeholders such as suppliers or your customers. So really make sure that you have end-to-end view and mindset to really utilize the levers along your whole supply chain. And by doing all that and committing to all that, our customer in the end could state that he transformed his inventory holding to a really advanced inventory management, and by that could significantly strengthen his competitiveness, and also was able to really make it a success with the performance of his project and his business. So yeah, thank you very much for listening, for participating today. If you are interested in further insights or an individual business case on that, feel free to scan the QR code. By that you will be directed to more information. We will also send out more material with a follow-up email. And now we have some minutes left to tackle some of your questions. Let me quickly check if we received some questions. I have one question here. This question is, what does the combined version of the tools look like? To what extent can it be individualized? Maybe, Laura, you can give an answer to that.
Yeah, sure. Good question. So first of all, it can be individualized a lot. So it's really tailored to the customer's needs. If your solution includes the data science tool, because of course we have a framework and of algorithms and so on in the background. but we still build up this tool for you. So it's very specific. And in this combined solution, then we normally do all these specific calculations within this data science tool. And in the data science tool, we do a lot of data preparations, and then out of the data science tool come a lot of inventory parameters, the demand forecast, and so on, in exactly the format that is necessary for the VIA suite. And then it goes into VIA suite, and there you can do the other optimizations. You can play around with the visualizations, and so you really get the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one additional question which builds a bit up on that. How is the tool built up? And this goes into the direction of the VIA suite. How is it connected to ERP like SAP? And how quick is the installation? I think we can also elaborate a bit on that. With the data input, Laura?
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about the data input itself. So we can transform it in such a way that it fits the needs of the predefined VIA suite. So we support you within the implementation process and so on, and in the end, it's very fast.
Yeah. So how quick is installation? I think as it is web-based and as there are no interfaces to customer ERP systems or similar have to be set up, it is also, we are really talking about the quick and short time horizon to set something like that up. So it's less than a day installation in the end. Of course, one would have to prepare the use cases and have to create the concept around it, but overall it would be very simple to install and set up at the customer. Good. One question which we also received is if a test version or something similar is available to get a first impression. And yes, the core modules of the VIA suite can be tested. We offer trials for that, including the visualization and analysis capabilities. So yes, it is possible. And you can approach us for your use cases again, and then we can find the optimal way how to test and really utilize a trial period then. All right. Further questions we will answer post-webinar with the follow-up as our time is running up. Thank you very much again for participating in our today's webinar. We hope that you found it interesting, and we would like to wish you a nice rest of the day.
Yeah, thanks from my side as well. Goodbye.
Goodbye.